Leah had not spoken a single word in 7 years. Not one, not mama or papa or even help. Her lips stayed closed tight, like a door locked from the inside with no key to open it. Her father was one of the richest men in the city. He owned tall buildings that touched the clouds. He had cars that shine like mirrors. He wore suits so expensive they cost more than most people's houses. But all his money could not buy his daughter a voice. He had taken her to every doctor in the country. Doctors with fancy offices and white coats. Doctors who poked and prodded and shined lights down her throat. They all said the same thing. There is nothing wrong with her body. Her voice should work. But it doesn't. He hired teachers who tried to teach her sign language. She learned it quickly because Leah was smart, very smart. But her father wanted to hear her voice, not just see her hands move. He even brought priests and healers who burned sweet-smelling herbs and chanted prayers. They promised miracles. Nothing happened. Every night, Leah's father would sit by her bed and whisper, "Please, my little bird," just one word. Just say, "Papa," one time, and I will give you anything in the world. But Leah's lips never moved. She wanted to speak. Oh, how badly she wanted to. She had so many words trapped inside her chest, pushing and shoving like prisoners trying to escape. But whenever she tried to let them out, nothing came. Just air. Just silence. It made her feel like a ghost. Like she was there, but not really there. Today was a warm Saturday morning. The city square was packed with people. Street vendors sold roasted nuts that smelled like butter and cinnamon. Children laughed and chased pigeons. Music played from a nearby cafe. Leah stood by the big stone fountain in the center of the square. Water splashed and sparkled in the sunlight. She wore a beautiful white dress with tiny flowers sewn into fabric. Her shoes were shiny and new. Her dark hair was brushed perfectly. People looked at her and whispered, "That's the millionaire's daughter, the one who cannot speak." Poor thing. So much money, but so sad. Leah hated when they whispered. She could hear them. She understood everything. Her father stood nearby, talking on his phone. His voice was loud and angry. He was always busy, always working, always worried about money and deals and important things. Leah watched the water in the fountain. She wished she could dive in and swim away to somewhere quiet, somewhere no one stared. Then she saw her, a girl, thin as a stick, dirty. Her clothes were torn and brown with mud. Her hair was tangled like wild grass. Her face was smudged with dust. The girl was homeless. Leah could tell. But what made Leah stare was not the dirt or the torn clothes. It was the bottle in the girl's hand. The bottle was old and plastic, cracked along the sides. Inside was a liquid that looked like dirty tea. Pale brown, cloudy. Little bits floated in it like tiny bugs or seeds. The homeless girl walked straight toward Leah. People in the square noticed. They moved away. Some covered their noses. A woman pulled her child close and hissed, "Don't get near her. She's filthy." But the homeless girl did not stop. Her eyes were locked on Leah. Dark eyes. Serious eyes. She stopped right in front of Leah and held out the bottle. "You need to drink this," the girl said. Her voice was raspy, like she had been coughing for days. Leah stepped back. Her heart began to beat fast. She shook her head. The homeless girl pushed the bottle closer. "Please, it will help you. I know it will. Get away from my daughter." Leah's father roared. He shoved his phone into his pocket and rushed over. His face was red with anger. "What do you think you're doing?" The homeless girl did not run. She stood her ground. "I'm trying to help her." "Help her? With that?" Leah's father pointed at the dirty bottle. "That looks like poison. Get out of here before I call the police." A crowd began to gather. People pointed and whispered, "That homeless girl is bothering the millionaire's daughter. Someone should call security. Look at how dirty she is. Disgusting." But the homeless girl did not leave. She looked at Leah, and her eyes were full of something strange, something desperate. "My name is Maya," she said softly. "I was sick once. Very sick. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I thought I would die." Leah's father grabbed her arm. I don't care about your sob story. Leave us alone. But Maya kept talking. Her voice grew louder. My grandmother made this for me. Before she died, she said it had special powers. Healing powers. I drank it and I got better. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. That's nonsense, someone in the crowd yelled. She's lying, another voice shouted. Maya's eyes filled with tears, but she did not cry. She looked straight at Leah. You can't talk, can you? Leah froze. How did this girl know? Maya nodded slowly. I can see it in your eyes. You have words inside, but they're stuck, trapped. I know, because I used to feel the same way. Not with talking, but with being heard. Nobody listens to homeless kids. We might as well be invisible. Leah felt something twist in her chest. She understood exactly what Maya meant. Maya held out the bottle one more time. Her hand was shaking. Please, just try it. One sip. That's all. If it doesn't work, then I'll leave and never bother you again. But if it does... She paused. If it does, maybe you'll finally say all those words you've been holding inside. Leah's father pulled her back. Absolutely not. I will not let my daughter drink some random filth from a street rat. The crowd agreed. Voices rose in anger. Send her away. She could poison the girl. This is insane. But Leah did not move. She stared at the bottle, at the cloudy liquid inside, at the strange floating specks. It looked disgusting. It probably was disgusting. But something deep inside her whispered, what if this dirty, homeless girl was telling the truth? What if this strange liquid could do what millions of dollars could not? What if, after 7 long years of silence, she could finally speak? Maya saw the question in Leah's eyes. She stepped closer, ignoring Leah's father's shouts. I know it looks bad. I know you're scared. But sometimes miracles come from the ugliest places. Sometimes help comes from the people nobody expects. Leah's hand moved. Slowly, carefully. She reached out. Her father grabbed her wrist. Leah, no. But Leah pulled free. Her fingers closed around the bottle. The crowd gasped. Maya's face lit up with hope. And Leah, for the first time in 7 years, made a choice that nobody else could make for her. She lifted the bottle to her lips. The bottle felt warm in Leah's hands. Strange, because it should have been cold. But it was warm, like it had been sitting in the sun for hours. She could smell it now. Earthy, like wet dirt after rain. Like old leaves and roots pulled from deep underground. Leah, put that down right now, her father commanded. His voice was sharp, full of fear. But Leah did not put it down. She looked at Maya. The homeless girl nodded. It's okay, Maya whispered. It tastes bad, but it won't hurt you. I promise. The crowd had gone completely silent. Everyone watched. Even the street vendors stopped selling. Even the children stopped playing. All eyes were on the millionaire's daughter and the dirty bottle in her hands. Leah closed her eyes. She tipped the bottle. The liquid touched her lips. Cold, bitter, thick. It tasted like mud mixed with old pennies and tree bark. It tasted like the bottom of a swamp. It was the worst thing she had ever tasted in her entire life. She wanted to spit it out, but Maya's eyes were so hopeful, so full of belief. So Leah swallowed. The liquid slid down her throat like cold syrup, slow, heavy. She could feel every drop as it went down. Then she coughed, hard. Her whole body shook. What have you done to my daughter? Leah's father screamed. He grabbed the bottle from Leah's hand and threw it on the ground. It cracked open, and the rest of the liquid spilled onto the stone street, disappearing into cracks. Maya gasped. No, there was only a little left. My grandmother's last batch. I don't care about your grandmother. Leah's father shouted. His face was purple with rage. You gave my daughter poison. You tried to kill her. I didn't. I swear I didn't. Maya's voice broke. Tears streamed down her dirty cheeks. I only wanted to help. She looked so sad, just like I used to be. Help. A man in the crowd laughed coldly. You're a street rat. What do you know about helping anyone? A woman spat on the ground near Maya's feet. Filthy beggar. You should be arrested. Someone call an ambulance, another person yelled. The girl is coughing. She's been poisoned. Leia's father wrapped his arms around her. It's okay, sweetheart. We'll get you to a hospital. Everything will be fine. But Leia was not listening to the shouts or the panic or her father's frantic words. She was paying attention to something else. Something happening inside her throat. It started as a tiny tickle, like a feather brushing against the inside of her neck. Then it grew warmer, warmer, warmer still. Not burning, not painful, just warm, like hot tea spreading through her chest, like sunshine melting ice. The sensation moved up from her throat to the back of her mouth, to her tongue, to her lips. It felt like something was waking up, something that had been asleep for a very, very long time. Leia touched her throat with her hand. Her eyes went wide. Maya saw it. Do you feel it? She asked, hope lighting up her face. Do you feel the tingling? Leia nodded slowly. That's how it started for me, too, Maya said. Her voice was excited now, even though people were still yelling at her. My grandmother said the medicine talks to your body. It finds what's broken and fixes it. That's ridiculous. Leia's father snapped. There's no such thing as magic medicine. I never said it was magic, Maya replied quietly. My grandmother was a healer. She knew about plants and roots and herbs that grow in special places. She spent her whole life learning. This was her greatest recipe. And where's your grandmother now? A woman in the crowd asked meanly. If her medicine was so great, why isn't she here? Maya's face fell. She died last winter. She got sick, and there wasn't enough medicine left for her. She gave it all away to other people, to people who needed it more. The crowd went quiet for a moment, but then a man shouted, That's a sad story, but it doesn't change the fact that you poisoned this girl. I didn't poison her. Maya cried, Why won't anyone believe me? Because you're nobody, another voice yelled. Why should we believe a homeless child over a millionaire? Leia felt anger rise in her chest. These people were being so mean. Maya had tried to help, and everyone was treating her like a criminal. She wanted to scream at them. She wanted to tell them they were wrong. But of course, she couldn't. She never could. The warm feeling in her throat was getting stronger now. It pulsed with every heartbeat. It felt like tiny bubbles were popping inside her neck. Her father was on his phone now, calling for his car. We're leaving right now. I'm taking you to the best doctor in the city. We'll pump your stomach if we have to. But Leia shook her head. She pointed to her throat and then to Maya. What? Her father asked. What are you trying to say? Leia pointed again, more firmly this time. Maya understood. She's saying she feels something. The medicine is working. The poison is working. You mean? Leia's father shot back. It's not poison. Maya stamped her foot. Why would I poison someone I don't even know? What would I gain from that? I have nothing. I am nothing. All I have is this one good thing my grandmother left me, and I wanted to share it with someone who needed it. Her words rang out across the square. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then a police officer pushed through the crowd. What's going on here? This homeless girl poisoned my daughter. Leia's father said immediately. The officer looked at Maya. His expression was cold. Is that true? No. Maya said desperately. I gave her medicine. My grandmother's medicine. It's made from special roots and... Save it for the station, the officer interrupted. He reached for Maya's arm. Maya tried to pull away. No, please, just wait. Just give a few more minutes. If nothing happens, then you can arrest me. But please, just wait. I'm not waiting for anything, the officer said. But before he could grab Maya, something happened. Something impossible. Leia opened her mouth, and for the first time in 7 years, a sound came out. Not a cough, not a gasp. A word. Quiet, shaky, broken, but a word. Pa. The crowd froze. Leia's father stopped moving. His phone slipped from his hand and clattered on the ground. The police officer's hand hung in the air, inches from Maya. Everyone stared at Leia. She swallowed hard. The warm feeling in her throat was burning now, but in a good way, like a muscle that had finally been stretched after being cramped for too long. She tried again. Pa! Pa! Her voice was tiny, like a baby bird chirping for first time. But it was there. It was real. Her father's eyes filled with tears. Leah, she looked at him, and with every bit of strength she had, she whispered one more time, Papa. The entire square held its breath. Nobody moved. Nobody blinked. It was like time itself had frozen. Leah's father dropped to his knees. He did not care that his expensive suit was getting dirty on the stone ground. He did not care that hundreds of people were watching. He did not care about anything except his daughter. Say it again, he whispered, his voice shaking. Please, sweetheart, say it again. Leah's throat still felt warm and tingly, but the feeling was fading now, like the sun setting after a long day. She swallowed carefully and spoke again. Papa. This time, her voice was a little stronger, a little clearer. Her father burst into tears. Real, heavy tears that rolled down his cheeks and dripped onto his shirt. He pulled Leah into his arms and held her so tight she could barely breathe. My little bird, he sobbed. My little bird finally sang. The crowd erupted. Some people cheered. Some people clapped. Some people cried along with Leah's father. It's a miracle. She can speak. After 7 years. 7 years of silence. I can't believe it. The police officer slowly lowered his hand. He stared at Maya with wide eyes. What was in that bottle? Maya was crying too, but she was smiling through her tears. I told you, my grandmother's medicine. It heals what's broken. But how? A woman in the crowd asked. How is that possible? Maya shrugged. I don't know exactly. My grandmother never told me all the ingredients. She said some secrets are meant to stay secrets. But she said it was made from roots that only grow in one special forest. Roots that are hundreds of years old. She would dig them up at night when the moon was full and boil them with rainwater collected during storms. That sounds like witchcraft, someone muttered. Call it whatever you want, Maya said softly. But it worked. You all saw it work. Leah pulled away from her father's hug. She looked at Maya. Their eyes met across the crowd. Leah's lips moved. She was trying to say something else. Her father held her shoulders gently. Take your time, sweetheart. There's no rush. Leah took a deep breath. The words felt strange in her mouth, like trying on new shoes that did not quite fit yet. But she pushed them out anyway. Thank you. 2 small words. But they meant everything. Maya's face broke into the biggest smile. You're welcome. Wait, Leah's father said suddenly. He stood up and turned to face Maya. His expression had completely changed. The anger was gone. The fear was gone. Now he just looked amazed and ashamed. He started, then stopped. He cleared his throat. I need to apologize to you. Maya blinked in surprise. What? I called you terrible names, Leah's father said. His voice was thick with emotion. I accused you of poisoning my daughter. I treated you like you were dangerous, like you were worthless. But you gave my daughter something I've been trying to buy for 7 years. You gave her a voice. The crowd murmured in agreement. I spent millions, Leah's father continued. Millions of dollars on doctors and specialists and treatments. But none of them could help her. And you, a homeless girl with a bottle of homemade medicine, you did what they couldn't. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a silk handkerchief. It was bright white and embroidered with his initials in gold thread. He walked over to Maya and gently wiped the tears and dirt from her face. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I'm so sorry. Maya did not know what to say. Nobody had ever apologized to her before, especially not a rich man, especially not in front of hundreds of people. Why did you do it? Leah's father asked. Why did you give my daughter that medicine? You could have kept it for yourself. You could have sold it for a lot of money. But instead, you gave it away to a stranger. Why? Maya looked down at her bare feet. They were dirty and covered in small cuts. She had been walking around the city for days, looking for something She was not even sure what. Because I know what it feels like to be voiceless, she said finally. The crowd went completely silent. Maya looked up, and her eyes were full of a deep, old sadness. Nobody listens to homeless people. We're invisible. We walk past people every day, and they look right through us like we're ghosts. We try to ask for help, and people cover their ears. We try to tell our stories, and people walk away. She paused. When I saw your daughter standing by the fountain, I recognized that look in her eyes. That trapped feeling, like there's so much inside you that you need to say, but nobody will ever hear it. I wouldn't wish that feeling on anyone, not even my worst enemy. Leia's father wiped his own eyes. That's very wise, especially for someone so young. How old are you? 10, Maya said. I think. I'm not completely sure. My grandmother never told me my exact birthday. And where are your parents? Maya shook her head. I don't know. My grandmother raised me. She said my mother left me with her when I was a baby. I never met my father. Leia tugged on her father's sleeve. When he looked down at her, she pointed at Maya and then at herself. What is it, sweetheart? Leia struggled with the words. They came out slowly, one at a time, like stepping stones across a river. She is my friend. The crowd gasped again. Maya's eyes went wide. Really? Leia nodded. Then she smiled. A real, genuine smile that lit up her whole face. She walked over to Maya, ignoring the dirt and the smell and all the things that used to separate them. She took Maya's hand in hers. Friend, Leia repeated. The word was clearer now, stronger. Maya squeezed her hand. Friend, she agreed. Leia's father watched them. These two girls from completely different worlds, holding hands in the middle of the crowded square. One in a beautiful white dress, one in torn, dirty rags. But in that moment, none of that mattered. He made a decision. Maya, he said, where do you live? Nowhere, Maya said honestly. I sleep in an alley behind the bakery on 3rd Street. The baker is nice. Sometimes he gives me old bread. Leia's father took a deep breath. Not anymore. From today, you will never go hungry again. You will never sleep in an alley again. I'm going to make sure you have a home. A real home. Maya stared at him. What? Why? Because you saved my daughter, he said simply. And because I've been so focused on money and success that I forgot what really matters. You reminded me. A little homeless girl reminded a millionaire what's truly valuable in this world. He knelt down so he was at eye level with both girls. Compassion, kindness, helping others even when you have nothing to gain. Those are the things that matter. Not money, not status, not fancy clothes or big houses. The crowd had tears in their eyes now. Even the people who had been cruel to Maya earlier looked ashamed. The police officer stepped forward. Sir, I should mention that there are proper channels for her. I don't care about channels, Leia's father interrupted. This child saved my daughter. I will do whatever it takes to help her. If that means calling lawyers or filling out paperwork or dealing with social services, then so be it. But Maya will not spend another night on the street. That's final. Maya could not believe what she was hearing. You really mean it? I really mean it. But I'm nobody. I'm just a homeless kid. You're not nobody, Leia said. Her voice was still quiet and rough, but the words were clear. You're my friend, and you're a hero. Maya started crying again, but this time they were happy tears. Leia's father stood up and addressed the crowd. Let this be a lesson to all of us. We spend so much time judging people by how they look, by how much money they have, by what they wear or where they live. But true worth has nothing to do with any of that. Sometimes the people we ignore are the ones who can teach us the most. The crowd clapped, slowly at first, then louder and louder until the entire square was filled with applause. A street vendor called out, 3 cheers for Maya, the girl who worked a miracle. Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Maya had never heard people cheer for her before. She had never felt important. She had never felt seen. But now, standing in the middle of the city square, holding hands with her new friend, surrounded by applause. She felt something she had never felt in her entire life. She felt like she mattered. Leah squeezed her hand and smiled, and Maya smiled back. 1 year later, Leah stood in front of her entire school. She was giving a speech, a real speech, with her own voice, in front of hundreds of people. "My name is Leah," she said clearly, "and I want to tell you a story about the day my life changed forever." In the front row, Maya sat wearing a clean school uniform. Her hair was washed and braided. She had new shoes and a backpack full of books. She lived with Leah's family now, in a big room with a soft bed and her own desk. She was going to school. She was learning to read and write. She had friends. She had a family. "A year ago," Leah continued, "I couldn't say a single word. I was trapped in silence. But then a homeless girl offered me a gift, not because she wanted money, not because she wanted anything in return, just because she cared." Leah looked at Maya. "That girl taught me that miracles don't always come from fancy doctors or expensive treatments. Sometimes they come from the most unexpected places. And sometimes the people who have the least to give are the ones who give the most." The auditorium erupted in applause. After the speech, Leah and Maya walked home together, just like they did every day. "You're getting really good at talking," Maya said with a grin. "Remember when you could barely say 2 words? "I remember," Leah laughed, "and I remember a dirty girl with a mysterious bottle who changed my life." "Hey, I wasn't that dirty." "Yes, you were." They both laughed. As they walked through the same city square where they had first met, they passed a fountain. The same fountain where everything had changed. A homeless man sat nearby, holding a cup and asking for change. Most people walked past him without looking. But Leah and Maya stopped. Leah reached into her pocket and pulled out some money. She placed it in the man's cup. "Thank you," the man said quietly, surprised. "You're welcome," Leah replied with a smile. As they walked away, Maya whispered, "You know what the best part is?" "What?" "We get to share what we learned. That everyone deserves kindness. That everyone deserves to be heard. That everyone matters." Leah nodded. Everyone matters. They held hands and walked home. 2 friends who had once been from different worlds, but who had found each other at exactly the right moment. And behind them, the fountain continued to sparkle in the sunlight, just like it always had, a silent witness to the day when the impossible became possible. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to be reminded that miracles can come from the most unexpected places. And subscribe to hear more stories about kindness, hope, and the magic that happens when we treat every person with dignity and love.